Welcome to the Freelancers Tea Break, the bite-sized podcast all about freelancing and working from home to enjoy during your tea break. Brought to you by Emma Cossey from freelancelifestyle.co.uk. And now, your host, Emma Cossey.
Welcome to the final episode in my series of episodes all about transactional drivers for freelancers and how they affect us, motivate us, and can sometimes hold us back. So far we've talked about please others, hurry up, be strong, and be perfect. So the final one is try hard. Now, try harder is a very, very common driver for freelancers. And I bet if you are a try hard driven freelancer, you have on your Kindle or on your bookshelf lots and lots of self development books because we're all about constantly improving ourselves. Nothing is ever quite good enough for a try harder. There's constantly that room for improvement. So it's similar in a way to be perfect, but you are constantly driving to try harder and do better. And I think a key thing to remember if you feel like you might be try hard driven is try hard driven freelancers often seek external praise, but the buzz from that praise is quite short lived. But we're not great at giving ourselves internal praise. But when we do, it can make a huge difference and it's far more effective. So if you are try hard driven, you need to work on building up your confidence and basically giving yourself a pat on the back a lot more with for what you achieve. A very common thing that try hard driven freelancers do is set goals that are very high and potentially not achievable, or take on a lot more workload than they should because they don't like to say no. And even if a client's asking for something that they can't do, they feel like they should learn how to do it or that they should be able to take on that amount of work. That said, if you happen to have a try hard driver and a please others driver, both of which are quite strong for you, you might find external praise is a little bit more effective, but it's still incredibly important that you develop more internal praise and more self-satisfaction. Essentially, try hard driven freelancers are quite hard on themselves, and sometimes it means that they're not brilliant at taking time to do self-care. Now, I know on a personal level, this has kicked in a lot harder for me since becoming a mum and trying to juggle motherhood and freelancing and all the other areas of life that you have. And I've definitely been guilty of guilt tripping myself about not working hard enough, comparing myself to other working mums and not feeling like I'm doing or achieving as much as they are. The other problem with being a try hard driven freelancer, or the slight pain point, is there's a good chance you could take criticism a little bit more personally. So because you're trying harder all the time, because you're constantly being quite hard on yourself to constantly achieve more, criticism could just hurt more because you feel like you're giving it your best. And therefore, if somebody criticises you, it can really be quite a blow. Okay, so that all sounds a bit negative, but actually, try hard driven freelancers are very, very good at achieving a huge amount of work. They're very likable people because they tend to have a little bit of the please others driver. But you need to take a step back and make sure that you set very clear, achievable, and that's the key word here, achievable goals. So whatever your big goal is, break it down into the smaller goals, because then you'll get that buzz from achieving the goal for yourself, not just externally but internally. And it stops you doing something that a lot of try hard driven freelancers fall into, which is constantly working without having a clear idea of what you're working towards. So you might feel like you're constantly thinking, I'm so busy, I've got so much to do, I've got to keep working, but without a clear idea of what you're working towards, because the emphasis is on the trying hard and the working hard side of things, rather than what you actually need to get done and the actual result. I'd love to know on Twitter, freelance_life, or in my Facebook group, which you can access by joining the newsletter, freelancelifestyle.co.uk/newsletter. I'd love to know which of those drivers you feel is currently the strongest for you now. I say now because there's a good chance that throughout life, these drivers will pop up at different times. So I found progressing through becoming a mum and a working mum, some of these drivers have become stronger than others. You will find also that several may be working for you at the same time. Finally, if you'd like to know more about how coaching could help you, I do offer a free chat, a free 20-minute chat, which you can book on freelancelifestylecoach.co.uk. The link will be in the notes to this podcast. And essentially it will give you an idea of whether coaching is for you. Essentially, it's a way of having a time and space for you to talk through your business, look at how to structure it better, how to become more self-motivated or more self-confident, finally tackle that scary networking event that you've gone to. It's about setting goals, but mainly it's about having a space for you to talk completely about your own business and for us to look at how you can continue to build upon it. Thank you for listening, and as always, I'm always welcoming feedback. If there's anything you want me to talk about in future podcasts, do let me know, and you can find all the contact details in the notes to this podcast.